So I was just reading that Mr. Fantastic can stretch up to 1,500 feet in length. So does that mean we can officially say he has the hugest penis in the whole Marvel Comics universe?
Yes, but I hate to interrupt. Welcome to Hate to Interrupt. I am Ethan from youtube.com/Gulif, and I'm joined by
Nick from Stop Culture.
I'm Nick from VHS Guy.
Sorry, I keep trying to fix my hair. I feel like I look like a... I don't know what's wrong with my hair today.
You look the Beatles, Paul.
Yeah, I look like a beetle right now. But yeah, so we have a lot to talk about today. We're going to be talking about the new Ryan Coogler movie, Sinners, the new MCU movie, Thunderbolts. We're going to touch on The Last of Us, and perhaps get into Trump's new plan to make to
Make
increase
movies great again.
to make movies in the U.S., which is something that I guess we haven't been doing for the past 100 years. I don't know. It's news to me.
We've never made movies here.
Hollywood is definitely not the movie capital of the fucking world.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of filming goes on in Canada, like a lot.
Of course.
Compared to Hollywood,
a disproportional amount of television is actually filmed in Canada.
but are they just like? But they're American productions that sometimes film in Canada,
That regularly film in Canada. Like it's a lot of them.
right? But I'm talking about like Hollywood it's like the epicenter of film in the world.
You could say that, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say it's more of an issue in television than film.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
so
that makes more sense. All right, let's get into the Thunderbolts asterisk, or should we say spoilers? The new Avengers.
Can we talk about that first? Because I think that's really dumb.
I think it's funny.
wait, you think
I'm okay with it?
Do you think it's dumb that they ended up changing the marketing? You mean is what you're saying? Like after opening weekend?
I think changing it after the fact is stupid. I think they should have just gone with the new Avengers in the first place if they wanted to do that.
I mean, because it was my issue is that it was treated as a reveal, like in the actual movie. But the problem is, unless you saw it the first 2 days it came out, it was not a surprise. It was like, oh yeah, I know that's what they're gonna do because they just revealed it.
If they wanted to change it, it should have been like something they did on like the DVD or like the Blu-ray release. They could just, or like whenever they throw it on streaming, it's changed to something else. And that would have been like a whole new like resurgence of people wanting to watch it again, you know?
I don't know. I feel like even a week or two would have been fine. Like just one whole week and be like, guys, it's actually titled this, you know?
So it was really just 3 days. That's all it took.
It was like, yeah, I think it was Sunday or Monday they just officially revealed.
Because I was seeing there was like billboards where you could see it said like the new A. You could see like an Avengers A. And it's like, I don't know. I understand why they did it. It's not real. The movie's not really about them being the Avengers anyway. No. That's kind of just like something that's tacked onto the end that will become important later. I don't know. It's not like a huge deal to me. And I understand like marketing a movie that's called the new Avengers when there hasn't been an Avengers movie in 6 years is bound to make it way more profitable than just being like, oh, this is the Thunderbolts, you know?
Yeah.
So I get it.
They're also not like, I don't think they're committing to it being called the new Avengers because officially, if it is officially an Avengers movie, then it's the lowest grossing Avengers movie of all time. So I don't think they're going to consider. They're like, that's the fun little jokey title. What's
the gross even add on it?
I don't. It's doing decent. It's not doing like Captain America: Brave New Bird numbers, but it's doing
Brave New Bird.
I heard someone else say that. But it's doing okay. It's getting better word of mouth at least than Captain America 4 got.
Is this one of the ones that we did an guess on?
No, that was Fantastic
It was just
Four,
Superman,
Jurassic World, and Superman. Yeah.
So it says 280 million It nears 280 million box office. I guess that's
okay.
Oh no, that's globally. So that's not great. I guess it's only been out for what, like a week.
Hopefully, but those movies are usually pretty front loaded.
I think it'll do okay. It'll be like middling.
I feel like it needs to hit at least like 800 million for it to be like profitable.
I don't know. I don't think this was that expensive of a...
I think it needs to be 800 million to be considered a success. Profitable is probably more like 600.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Because Doctor Strange 2 was over 800 million, and they were like, okay, Marvel's kind of coming back, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, about the movie, I thought it was really good. One of my probably my favorite Marvel movie since Endgame. I don't know about you guys, but
I think Guardians 3 is probably still my favorite out of that, but it's up there for me.
I still haven't seen Guardians 3. I'm sure I would like it more than this. But this was probably my favorite since the Endgame, I guess. I didn't feel like I was like being talked down to by this movie. I felt like it was like actually enjoyable. It felt fairly like genuine, which was nice.
Which Marvel movies
shocking.
talked down to you?
I feel like
Captain America.
Yeah, Captain America definitely talked down. It felt like it like treated me like I was an idiot.
Oh, in that way. Okay, of it just being like it just the exposition being overly explanatory.
The exposition, and then also just like the like requirement of me to like suspend my disbelief on way too many things.
Yeah,
especially the ending. The ending was egregious on that film.
Yeah,
but when Harrison Ford got real big and real red.
Well, whenever he's just like talking the Hulk down, just like okay.
Thunderbolts. I think it was really good. I think I really like the team dynamic. I think Florence Pugh is genuinely excellent in this movie. I've always really loved her. Not as just you guys know I have a crush on her as a celebrity, but I also think she's an excellent actress.
I actually thought of this for our pod. Florence Pugh is kind of the Oppenheimer of our podcast in terms of actors, because Nick absolutely thinks she's a masterpiece, and the other Nick thinks she sucks.
I don't think that she sucks. I just think she hasn't really had a good a performance that's blown me away. And I wouldn't say this blew me away, but like I feel like she's
very believable in this.
Yeah, I really liked her performance in this. I really think she did a good job.
I think she's a better Black Widow than Scarlett Johansson ever was. Yeah,
she's that's so a really much more low bar. Yeah, I don't think they ever gave her really anything to do.
But all right, but thought experiment. Try to imagine Scarlett Johansson in this role. The movie I don't think would really work as well.
I mean, the characters are also in a different place. She's just such a different character from Yelena.
Yeah. Because I guess Yelena has to. This is Marvel's Suicide Squad because they're more morally gray hat characters or whatever. And what was Scarlett Johansson's name? Natasha
Romanoff.
She was always her sort of checkered past was more implied by the movies. You sort of see what it was actually like in Black Widow, but you kind of only know because her and Hawkeye were like, oh yeah, Budapest was crazy. I did some bad stuff there. But at least with Yelena, you actually see her doing bad things. So there's an arc toward redemption,
I think that Suicide Squad did a better job of doing the morally gray characters.
The Suicide Squad or Suicide Squad? Be very specific.
The new one. The one with James Gunn. You
gotta throw the in there.
James Gunn's Suicide Squad. I think these characters definitely didn't feel like they were conflicted. It felt like they were always pushed, always wanting to do the right thing for the most part. And there was less conflict between them. There was definitely some snickering between fucking Russell Crowe.
Wyatt Russell.
Yeah, U.S. agent.
He was probably the most morally gray, but it mostly was done through quips rather than any actual inclination of being a bad guy, except for whenever he just dropped them down that hole, I guess.
God, he's such a loser too.
Well, I mean,
character.
The comparison to Suicide Squad is it's apt, but it's not a 1-to-1 because Thunderbolts they're none of them are really villains. They're kind of anti-heroes and they're more self-interested than actively doing bad stuff all the time. Yelena only does bad. All of them only do bad stuff because they're working for Elaine from Seinfeld. So it's I don't know. The Suicide Squad guys. Remember the Weasel? He was genuinely he was a child murderer, right?
It just but it genuinely feels like Marvel wanted some of that, but they were too afraid to go too dark with it. I feel like the movie could have definitely benefited from building that relationship up a little bit more. So it's a bigger contrast between the beginning and the end. I think if they were a little bit more of pieces of shit, by the end, you'd have been like, damn, I fuck with these guys heavy.
Yeah, I really loved how in depth and how much like character backstories we got for Taskmaster. I think she's a really interesting character that we
That
learned
was
so much
crazy.
about and had such an awesome arc. No, she got
What
shot in
was
the fucking
that,
head.
dude?
Like she got one line and then was shot in the head by Ghost.
They put her in all the marketing. She's like forced to go. I see her at the premiere photos
for New Avengers.
It still didn't hit as hard as fucking what's his name just getting insta-murked in Suicide Squad.
Oh, what's his face? Pete.
Oh, Pete Davidson.
Yeah, Pete Davidson. That was that was great. And everybody loves seeing Pete Davidson like bad things happen to him too. People hate that guy for no reason.
Well, I remember, like, Ethan, you were saying, we were talking about Kingpin a while ago, and you were like, this is one of the rare instances where Marvel actually lets a villain sort of cook for a while, like through different installments of the franchise. Usually they just kill the villains off immediately. So it's like, even if they wanted the Thunderbolts team to be full-fledged, full-bore villains, I don't even think they have that kind of repertoire. Like, there's just not enough characters to fill up a team of villains because they're all either dead or just not around
or they're
anymore.
way too awful.
I don't think that's true. I think there's a lot of available villains they could use.
People saying they should have put Bullseye in this, and I was like, bro, could you imagine the ending of this movie with Bullseye? That dude is a fucking psychopath.
Dude, I thought Bob or whatever, he did a great job too.
Oh, dude,
Bob was
amazing.
awesome.
I love him.
He was so
originally
good.
Originally going to be played by Steven Yeun, and then scheduling issues happened.
This was a great. That was
better
happy
than
accident.
I don't think Steven Yeun is funny enough.
I think he's funny.
Yeah.
He was really funny in Walking Dead.
No, he's not goofy though. He can be in comedic roles, but
goofy. You seen him in Nope? He's so goofy.
that was played straight for the most part.
Yeah,
Bob is my new favorite character in the MCU. I think I fucking love. I love.
I think he was great. I think Wyatt Russell's great. I think he's actually a genuinely good actor. I think everybody just did a good job. I think it was a super solid movie.
Do you think anyone was like confused watching this and they're like, wait, why is there a guy that looks like Captain America that's not Captain America? Because they didn't watch the Disney Plus show?
Yeah, they don't really. I mean, Nick, you probably didn't watch that, right? Falcon
I didn't,
and the Winter
but
Soldier.
I know all the backstory on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they mention it in the movie, but they don't really go. They just kind of offhandedly mention it.
Yeah.
One thing that was surprising to me, I went to go see it on a date, and the chick I went to go watch it with is much more of a Marvel fan than I am, and she actually didn't like the movie, and I was like, "Oh, I thought it was pretty good." So I'm wondering how I haven't talked to enough people about it, but I'm wondering how like people who really like Marvel movies liked this movie.
People are saying we're back.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't followed any of the online stuff. I've only talked to people IRL about it.
I have to say, like, watching the the post-credit scene with the Fantastic Four ship coming in, I was like, I'm actually excited now.
Yeah.
This is going to be pretty cool to watch them go against whatever, and Sam Wilson, who is kind of one of my least favorite characters. But if he's putting up a team there's going to be friction between the New Avengers and them, and then the Fantastic Four are showing up. I'm like, I don't know. There's a lot of balls in the air, and there's a lot of opportunity for interesting creative decisions at this point. So
the Avengers Twitter account has a copyright symbol next to it now.
I'm still not sold on Fantastic Four. I still don't think it's going to be that good, but I hope it is.
I have hopes that it'll be good. I will say, at the very least, this movie did what Marvel movies should be doing and hyping us up for not a movie that's not going to get made, but for a movie that is coming out in like 3 or 4 months. Like the end credits tease the next Avengers. That's coming out in a year, and Fantastic Four is coming out in like 2 months.
Like one thing that I don't get, right? Like, what was the team behind this movie? What did they do previously?
Beef on Netflix.
Beef. Like, they have these like great teams of directors and like writers working on these movies, but they all still have the same like dialogue, and like everything is between all the Marvel movies like feels very, very, very similar. And I'm wondering, like, I don't understand why. Like, why?
I don't think it's always necessarily the same. I think that there are the comedic, the through line is always comedic. It's the way that the quippy dialogue feels, which it was grating in this movie a little bit. But at the same time, I think David Harbour sort of grounds that because he's just like a full blown comic relief character. He's not like a Tony Stark, like, what's up, guys? I'm kind of sarcastic and crazy. He's just like a Russian asshole who's funny, which I appreciate that. There being just a guy who's funny there, And
yeah, but it still felt like everybody was quippy.
Everyone does have a bit of a quip in this. A little bit too much for me.
But they're all different flavors of quippy people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was as bad in this movie as some movies, but it's still there, and it kind of makes me feel like it's part of what makes all of these movies feel so samey to me. Like if you look at the first Iron Man, like characters were still real people, and then Tony Stark was like the big character, right? He did the quippiness, but everybody else was like very much just like a real character for the most part.
Yeah.
And it just feels like the longer and longer we go into Marvel, the more samey all of the dialogue is. And I just don't understand how that's the case whenever we have these directors that are like tested and have done good things.
I think what it is like Feige probably has a quip quota. I have to imagine that he's like, oh, we got to have a little bit more, we got to keep
the scene.
Yeah, there's got to be a joke every 90 seconds basically in a Marvel movie, and I think that's Feige's influence. But if you look at like the emotional scenes, like the emotional dialogue exchanges in this movie, were actually very moving. Like Yelena's conversation with the red guard wife,
Bob.
what's his name? Yeah, with Bob. Yeah, with Alexi, and then also with Bob. I mean, the whole scene at the end. I mean, the entire this movie actually had something to say about like mental illness and stuff.
It had a theme.
Yeah, and like watching Bob beat the shit out of his like the personification of his depression was like. But yeah, it was on the nose, but like it was impactful. Like it totally worked. I felt moved by it.
Yeah,
but
me too.
It just makes me wonder. What would happen if they just gave somebody a character and didn't fucking give them these quip quotas and make them do all these things? Like, how many good Marvel movies are we missing out on by them basically like putting a chastity belt on these directors?
I honestly think one of the only characters in this that didn't really do any quips at all, maybe a little bit, it was like Bucky, because he was actually kind of badass in this. I don't know about you guys, but I was like, damn, this guy.
There was like
cool
some dumb
hell.
Shit, like him putting his fucking arm in the washing machine.
That's just a visual gag, though.
That was actually hilarious. I thought.
I know, I love that. But like, I don't know, like the whole. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but this was like a much smaller scale Marvel movie, and it allowed them to do like actual practical effects.
Yeah,
where everything didn't feel like it was in a big empty void.
Well, up till the end, whenever they smoke bombed the entire city.
Well, yeah, but even then you get practical stuff where they're in like the void world and they're in like these trauma shame rooms.
I think the movie looked pretty good. I mean, it still was very CGI heavy and Marvel-y, but it still looked like it looked way better than most of the movies that have come out recently.
It looked better than Ant-Man Quantumania and Deadpool and Wolverine and Thor Love and Thunder.
I think that watching this movie, I totally agree with you, Nick. Like, I do think about that's my main critique of this movie. That's what prevents me from saying it's like an actually great movie, is that it still needs that Marvel quippiness that I've just grown tired of. Like, it'll make you giggle in the theater sometimes, but if you're gonna watch this at home by yourself, you're just gonna be straight faced the entire time, because it's like built for the theater experience, but like it doesn't hold up on rewatch.
Like literally the other day, I went back and watched Logan, and I was just like,
"It's great.
It's genuinely a fucking good movie."
Yeah,
and like we could have more of that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
I feel like watching this movie, I was very aware of the fact that Marvel definitely took some of the criticisms that people that like film, that don't just like Marvel, I think they implemented a lot of those criticisms. Like just watching in the first scene, like watching Florence Pugh actually jump off a fucking building, watching them blow up the floor of a building, like all that stuff. It felt real. It made the movie feel more tactile and feel like an actual movie and not just a Marvel movie. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that for like them actually taking that initiative there.
I agree with you. I just hope they take the right things from the success of this and keep moving in that direction, because I think Marvel could genuinely be in a really, really good spot. Like all they need is one good Spider-Man movie where they let a director do their thing, right? And Marvel's back.
Yeah,
but they have to do it.
Yeah, it's just that it's never been their MO. Like I think Feige Feige's control has been, a gift and a curse throughout the entire
Iron grip
history.
almost.
Yeah, it has its positives. It makes sure, or at least during Marvel's heyday, it made sure that everything was building up to a proper climax, and like you were getting bits and pieces and different like nooks and cranny of the universe geographically through each installment of the story. But it also made things feel tonally homogenous, and we're still trying to get over that. I mean, I don't know. I have hope that the next couple Avengers movies will be fun, at least. I don't think there's any way that you can have the entire cast of like the old X-Men. And sure, it's going to be like a nostalgia cash grab thing, but personally, I'm going to have fucking fun watching that shit. Like seeing how they're going to put all that together. I'm excited for it,
I would have been if I didn't watch Deadpool and Wolverine. But I just like it killed it for me. I was just like, I don't want more of this.
At least if it was that, if at least it's not that director, Sean Levy.
I don't think it will be like that though. I don't know. Deadpool and Wolverine was like just taking the narrative conceit of multiverse storytelling and just blowing it out to its most comedic proportions, like just taking it to its logical conclusion of like how ridiculous can we make this multiverse thing. I think the Doomsday and Secret Wars it's going to try to actually tell a story within the multiverse framework. It's not going to be just like, oh, can we get like 1 billion Tony Starks and they're all like fucking weirdos or whatever, I don't know.
But
I just don't see it like that.
I think all parody comes from a bit of truth, and I think Marvel is much closer to the parody than we'd like to admit.
What, you think they're like a parody of themselves at this point?
I think they're getting there for sure. After watching Quantumania, 100%.
Quantumania felt more like a Star Wars movie, It felt like a ridiculous Star Wars movie than a Marvel movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It felt like one of the new era. Like I was watching like The Acolyte or something. If it was comedy show.
I think all Disney properties are kind of suffering from a similar thing, not just Marvel.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Which this is completely a little bit out there, but like I'm really excited for the Lilo and Stitch movie. As weird as that sounds, because I love Lilo and Stitch.
Why are you excited for a fucking Frankenstein version of it?
I don't care. I'm just gonna watch it and hope it's good. But yeah, I don't know. I have hopes that are middling, and maybe they'll surprise me.
Yeah. I don't know. I just watching the Fantastic Four trailers and stuff, and seeing it at the end of Thunderbolts. I am actually on the Marvel is so back train, tentatively. I think it's gonna be good.
I think it's gonna take a couple strings of hits for me to be like, all right, they're finding their footing again. Because even like the CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, was talking in I think it was a recent like quarterly call, and he was like, so this is now our new focus. He's like, our new focus for Marvel is quality over quantity, and this Thunderbolts is the first and best example of that.
All the other movies don't count, despite the fact that we've been saying quality over quantity since everyone started yelling at us online every day. Since Iger came back, he was the one who was like, I think it was mostly a response to like She-Hulk and everything, where people were. You remember that whole thing? Like everyone was freaking the fuck out about She-Hulk, and he came back after the short era of what was his name, Bob Chapek, who was just like, we need to get these D+ subscriber numbers up, so they're just making She-Hulk, fucking all of these different Marvel properties and Star Wars things, and now Bob Iger's like, all right, yeah, Moon Knight, all of it was such a mess, and then. It's just crazy that he's saying now we're doing quality over quantity, when it's like, hasn't that been your whole MO for the past 3 years, despite the fact that like nothing's really changed until like last week, I don't know. Yeah. It's all a little bit desperate, public facing.
And like this movie could also just be fucking lucky. Like they could have they said Bob Iger has been MIA for a while. Maybe he didn't oversee this movie as much as the other ones,
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, I'm just really I know we talked about this already, just pitting Fantastic Four against Superman, but I think that box office battle will be like very important and a microcosm for things to come. Like we'll be able to see how James Gunn's DCU will do compared to everything else, just based on how those two movies perform.
I feel like they're going in with tempered expectations on Superman. I think they know that they're going to make a solid movie and it's going to start something. It's a similar, like, if they're smart at all, they're going to look at it in the same way as like the first Iron Man, which didn't make insane money, but it really kickstarted
got
everything.
People excited, yeah.
You know,
why do you think they're tempered? I mean, I don't know. It's a Superman movie. It's James Gunn.
They're marketing the hell out of it.
Yeah, I think it's going to do really well.
But you have to keep in mind there have been so many Superman movies and Justice League, and it's coming off of the back of all of these things that were utter failures.
Yeah, but that was kind of a while ago now. Justice League happened in 2017. You know,
the last Superman movie
10 years.
was 12 years ago.
I'm just saying, I don't think James Gunn is like, this movie is going to make $1.5 billion. I don't think they're thinking that.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I think they think it'll be a success.
Yeah. Dude, every time, the first time I saw the Superman trailer, I was like, oh, this is sick. Now, every time I see it in the movie theater, I start to like well up with excitement
it's so
and joy.
Beautiful.
The fucking the guitar line and everything. I was never even like a big Superman guy, but like that trailer is so moving.
It looks
I don't know
really
why.
fun.
Yeah,
it looks really fun.
Just watching a little kid like put
a little kid saying like Superman.
Yeah, it's like. You know, Snyder was obsessed with doing that too, of like showing how people kind of like deified Superman. But it doesn't. This trailer shows that like it's not making him as a god above men. It's making him as like a symbol of hope for people to latch onto. That he's more powerful than them, but he's still one of them. You know.
Yeah.
Whereas like Snyder was interested in portraying him as
Jesus
a god,
imagery.
You know? And I think it's just so much more powerful this way, and the distinction is totally clear just watching from the trailer. You know.
Yeah.
It's also much closer to the actual comics. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Zack Snyder didn't give a fuck.
No, he just went like, "What's cool? Get rid of the fucking boxer briefs. That's lame as shit."
We're gonna have Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Maher, Jon Stewart, everyone talking about Superman being a god. We're gonna have, dude. Honestly, I don't know why we're getting into this. I just have to ask you guys because we've never brought it up. What the fuck was with Jesse Eisenberg, Lex Luthor? Is that like the worst casting, worst acting decisions of all time in that movie?
I think he could have been Lex Luthor, maybe. I think that he would have had to commit to the bit in a different direction, and they didn't need to shave his head. They didn't need to go. They could have just been like, "This is a different Lex Luthor,"
he's Lex Jr.
Well, he didn't shave his head till the end. That was it was like the last 5 minutes.
I also saw that he was based on Max Landis or something.
Well, I
Mark
think like
Zuckerberg.
It's that's the thing. Like I feel like it made sense for that movie that came out in 2016 for
2016.
the Lex Luthor of that time. It would make total sense for him to be a tech bro. And in the public consciousness, Mark Zuckerberg was just portrayed by Jesse Eisenberg. So like that casting, I totally get it. But just it sounds so much better on paper than it actually worked on screen. You know, it was a fucking total mess.
Well, it was also too big of a performance, I think. Yeah. I think if he was more of like a calculated, like just kind of sociopathic dude, it would have worked a lot better.
Remember that time he shoved a Jolly Rancher in that guy's mouth?
Yeah, dude, like that kind of stuff. So weird. It's so uncomfortable to watch that.
He went like full Now You See Me Jesse Eisenberg versus like Social Network Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Well, you guys we should move on to Sinners.
For the Thunderbolts asterisks and the New Avengers.
7.5.
6.5.
7 might go to a 6 if I never think about this movie again, but if it doesn't, it'll stay a 7.
Wait, before we move on real quick though, just to harp on Bob for a second and the Void, like Nick.
Oh yeah.
I know that shit must have hit you. You know, like based on the stuff we talk about, like I know that that was probably moving for you too, right? No? It didn't make you feel anything?
None of the emotional shit hit for me very hard. I could see why, like, it was, like, decently done, but like I don't know, it didn't do it for me.
Well, I think it's just between Lewis Pullman. I think that was such an incredible performance. You know, like it's
I
like
think no,
performance that had no business being that good. You know, so good.
No, I think he was great. I don't know. Like, I think it's just with everything else going on, with like Julia Louis-Dreyfus just being kind of a goofball, and like everything else just kind of like pulled me out of it a little bit. So like maybe if like things were a little bit more serious, it would have worked on me. But I don't know.
This is also a side note. Did you guys realize like almost every character in here had the exact same haircut? Yelena, Bucky, Bob, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus had the exact same haircut.
I was noticed.
One of the funniest things in the movie was when like Valentine is like, "All right, kill them," and he's like, "No, I mean, I don't really have to listen to you. Like, you told me I'm a god. Why do I need to listen to a mortal?" And then the next scene, he's like, "It's the hair," you know, like he's just like
he's like, you know,
he's
what?
getting stuck on like the smallest
hair.
things. Yeah.
No, I think he was good. And I think at the end, whenever he's like just can't use his powers, and he's just like, "Sorry, guys."
Yeah, I don't remember what happened.
Well, that was good. I fucked with it. I liked it. I didn't tear up or feel any kind of way about anything.
It's all right. Oh, you haven't seen Guardians 3, but I was gonna ask if that made you cry, but you haven't seen it.
I'll watch it this week.
Guardians 3, like doing stuff like that is a cheat code to getting tears out of an audience.
You got animals?
Abusing a little talking raccoon and all his little fucking genetic experiment friends. You got that's crazy. All right, let's get into Sinners.
Yeah, let's get into Ryan Coogler's Sinners. So I fucking love this movie, and you guys aren't haters exactly, but you're all like, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm definitely I'm not at all a hater of it. I really enjoyed it. I guess my expectations were kind of through the roof based on the chatter about this movie. And there, you know, I definitely had a really fun time with it. There's just a few main things that I had an issue with. The biggest one is that if you're going to have one actor play two characters, you have to give us a little bit more in terms of like distinction between their characterization. Aesthetically, they look exactly the same. The only way you can actually tell them apart is by what hat they're wearing and what woman they're dating. You know?
No, they had different gold teeth. Their gold teeth were slightly different.
Just like little, but that's not enough. And it's like they're literally the same character, you know. And that's why I felt like throughout the beginning of the movie, like while they're setting up for the big performance and like getting their club ready for the opening night, I was like, why is this movie so hard to follow? Like, why am I not really understanding what's going on or what everyone's motivations are? And I'm like, I think it kind of stems from that, you know, from that just kind of being a miscarriage, that whole concept, you know.
I didn't really think about that, but you're right. I mean, they did look very similar in there. And while one of them was supposed to be sort of like the big brother strongman, like especially that scene at the end whenever he's like basically the same character as his brother whenever he walks in and talks to the old guy, it's like there isn't really much distinction between them.
Yeah,
I can see that. I can see that because, you know, you got Michael A. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan. And like most of it comes down to just the wardrobe differences. But I don't know. I think there was enough subtlety in the performance that it was good. But I think for me, it was like Smoke is he's the main character, or he's sort of the main character. But like
he's the one that doesn't turn, right?
Yeah, he's the one that doesn't turn. Okay. Smoke is the blue. He wears blue. He's the one where I'm like, yeah, no, he's kind of got the heart of the whole thing, as well as like Miles is like the other, like is the main character of the story. But then Stack's kind of more just like your fun side character. That's what he feels like to me.
My biggest issue with the film, my biggest issue is basically it's a blockbuster masquerading as like an art film to an extent. And I didn't like the whole first 40 minutes of the movie. I know they were trying to do this big build up to make you like really connect to the story and all this, but really it was just boring. Like the first 40 minutes of the movie was fucking boring to me. Like all of the getting the band back together and getting all these people. No, it was fucking slow and boring as shit.
Good. I was so into it.
I literally only actually like really enjoyed probably the last like 45 minutes of the movie.
Where it just gets fucking buck wild.
I don't think it was boring at all. I mean, I really love when they meet Slim, like the older blues musician. That's his name, right? Slim?
Delroy Lindo. Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. When they're just like they're like bartering or haggling for what his commission is going to be for playing at the show, and he literally just wants to play so he can get drunk. It's I really like that character a lot. I thought Haley Steinfeld was like a cool addition too. All the characters were pretty interesting too. I really like Sammy. The music was great. You know.
Man,
yeah, it was really really good. The guy who plays Sammy is really talented.
Same composer as Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I think this movie definitely suffered from like being way overhyped, because I think if I went in with very tempered expectations, I would have enjoyed it more or been like more lenient on it. But whenever people are saying this is the best movie of the year, it's amazing, and then first of all, like, there's nothing that's special about it. Like,
I agree. Honestly.
I don't.
Do you think it's really special, Ethan?
I think what the actual theme of the story is just what makes it special to me, and it's in this framing of being like a action kind of 24-hour vampire survival story. I don't know, because like the whole theme is I read that Ryan Coogler was inspired to tell the story because he was like getting really into grunge music at one point, and then he looked into grunge music and he was like, wait a minute, grunge music is basically just kind of blues music, but like by white people. And then he kind of went through the history of like blues music, and he's like, oh my god, there's so much music that was just like stolen and turned into something else that's from like black culture. And that's kind of what the whole point is. Like with the whole vampires, they act as like this mixing pot that you essentially, as soon as you become part of it, you lose your culture, you become one big mush. There's no distinction from what you are making, what you and your people are creating. Once you're a vampire, it's just you're just in the mix. You're just in the grayness.
Mm-hmm. But is this movie not just like Get Out mixed with Dusk Till Dawn? Like,
I haven't seen Dusk Till Dawn, but I don't really think it's Get Out. I don't know how it's Get Out.
It's because the whole concept you're talking about is exactly the concept of Get Out. Like, where he's like, I want your eyes, kid. Like,
it's like the white people want to take on the aesthetics of black culture without contending with the oppression that comes along with their identities, you know?
Yeah, it's a similar theme, but I mean, I still think it's so distinct from Get Out. Like, it shares tonal and thematic ideas, but I wouldn't say it's at all like.
And then also like
Dusk Till Dawn.
Like, I think they really went hard on trying to make the movie very gory. They like put a lot of effort into like making people's jaws disconnected and shit. But I also
that guy gets shot in the face.
Yeah, I don't think the fights, especially the fights with the vampires, I don't think that it was very impressive as far as the comic goes. I think that fight scene at the end, whenever he's killing all the fucking Klansmen, I think that was actually like the best like action scene in the entire movie, and that was without any vampires there.
Yeah, that was a really cool scene. That was like a little coda action scene to end the movie off with. You get to kill some
because it wasn't members. Like it didn't feel like a super necessary story moment, but it was very fucking cathartic.
Yeah.
It was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, it's like I don't really have that much negative to say about the movie. I guess it's just kind of what Nick was saying. Like I don't necessarily see it as being one of the best movies of the year, or I mean, I've heard people go even farther than that, like one of the best of the decade. I just didn't really see it that way. I definitely had a lot of fun with it, and there are a lot of things I really liked about it. Like particularly, I love the way that like music is incorporated into the supernatural element of the movie, and how they kind of it's like all of the characters who have musical talent and are interested in playing music, they have like a very complicated relationship with their own musicality. Like there's the one scene where they just pick up Slim, and he's like telling this really heartbreaking story about a friend that he had that I can't remember exactly, but something bad happened to his friend, like he got arrested or something or killed. And then as soon as he's done with the story, he like starts singing. He's like, you know, like, and just showing that like music as a response to trauma was so cool. And also how music, it's very easy for musicians to develop a toxic relationship with their music because it can take you to places that are so much more peaceful and carefree than the real world. But also you can't stay there all the time, which kind of can bring its own demons with it, you know, which is why like the music actually being the thing that calls the vampires was really cool to me. Like I really appreciated that about this movie, you know?
Yeah. And also that I mean, it's the scene that everyone's talking about. I mean, you mentioned this, Nick. You're like, it's a Hollywood blockbuster that has art house moments. It's the art house moment where he's playing and you see the future and the past of like black music coming together. Which initially, when that started, I was like, okay, this is a little silly because you see the guy with like the flying V guitar, and I was like, oh, that's a little ridiculous. But then it just kind of kept going and building on itself till the whole like barn lights on fire, and I had like chills while I was watching that in theaters.
See, that to me was a scene where I feel like conceptually is so cool and thematically is really incredible. Like, I agree with you that there. I wasn't really a huge fan of the execution of it. I kept thinking, I wish he would just take it like there was a surrealism knob that you could turn up like 10%. I would have really preferred to see it that way, where it was like a little bit more scary, perhaps. Like, it was just, he took it in a way where it was like a tracking shot and they're just sort of like entering and they're just like integrating themselves into the party. Like, I was just thinking while I was watching, I was like, how would Robert Eggers tackle this same kind of scene?
Yeah.
And I was like sort of wanting more of that. You know what I mean? Rather than
I agree.
what it actually was.
And I think a lot of the problem is probably Ryan Coogler has been given way too much money way too early, and he never really had to be creative with his films. Like how far into his career? Like, he did like what, Fruitvale Station, then he immediately was given hundreds of millions for Creed and Creed
Black
2.
Panther.
Yeah, it's like,
well, he didn't do Creed 2. He just did Creed 1.
Oh. But still, like, he's had these massive budgets for so long, and I feel like he's just not an art house director. He's not. He's a blockbuster director. And I think those movies are just never going to stand out to me.
Yeah, I agree. I now that you say it like that, like, it doesn't really feel that much like an art house movie visually. I would say thematically, and in terms of what it's actually trying to say, I think it's a really impactful story overall. But yeah, visually, it didn't necessarily grab me as much as I was hoping it would. That's another kind of gripe I have with the movie, I guess. But
Yeah,
I don't want to
that's
sound
fair.
too negative. Like, I really did enjoy my time.
Yeah,
there,
I didn't hate this movie at all. The only reason I'm saying negative things is because of the massive amount of hype around it.
You're trying to balance out the argument. I understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, this is by no means a bad movie in any way, shape, or form, and I enjoyed watching it.
I even overhyped it for you guys because I was fucking buzzing when I came out of the theater. I was like, holy shit, this was fucking awesome. And I still stand by that. I still fucking love this movie. But I do feel bad because I was just like, guys, it's fucking incredible. You gotta go see it. Which is, no matter what, it's just, that's never a good idea to pitch someone a movie like that.
Yeah, and I watched it today, and I've been holding off on my Letterboxd review because I'm still contemplating it. I'm still trying to decide how I feel about it. So, I mean, I don't know.
So, Ethan, you're basically saying that Coogler's whole concept with the vampires and how they sort of appropriate everyone's culture and become a hive mind, that's supposed to represent the way white people like took rock and roll and sort of just made it and rap music, like, and everything.
Co-opting like a lot of black cultures and turning it into something else. Like, it loses its core.
Oh, okay.
And becomes something unrecognizable. Which is what the people, they become vampires, and it's not just their memories anymore. They become 1% of a 99% of memories. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't make that connection, honestly. But that's cool. That makes me think about it differently.
I think the Irish vampire dancing scene was hilarious.
How do you guys feel about the villain? Because I fucking loved Remick.
I thought he was pretty good.
Great.
I think he's awesome. Yeah. Like. And it also makes I was like watching a bunch of videos on going into like some of the themes of the movie and like all this stuff, and it's like it is very specific that the vampire is Irish because Ireland went through the same thing that a lot of black people went through from the UK. Like they have a very similar shared history, and even Remick, he's not a racist character. He very much is not. Yeah. He's just like, I want what you guys have. That is all I want. I don't have any, I don't know. It's just so much more nuanced, and you could have done such a basic, boring, like, the vampires are a metaphor for racism. But, like, he didn't do that. He actually tried to, make something, a very nuanced discussion, I thought. And I love that. I also love that they don't fucking waste time with the trying to figure out what's going on. These people bit his neck, and then he became one of them. It's like, no, they're fucking vampires. All right.
Yeah, that's the benefit. I don't know what's that actress's name that she's like dating Smoke.
I don't know.
She was in like Loki. She's in the MCU. She was in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Misaku.
Yeah. So that's what the benefit of her character being there, because she's into all this kind of like witch doctor type stuff. So she's like, I know what this is, which I thought that's right.
The exposition character.
Yeah. I do like that, even or that little moment, because like her and Smoke have a relationship, and he's just like, I've been traveling the world, I've killed so many people, seen horrible things, I've never seen a ghost or a demon, I think it's all mumbo jumbo. And then she's just like, why are you still wearing that necklace to protect you from demons that I gave you? He's like,
yeah. No, yeah, I don't know, man. I really, the way hearing you describe it as like the vampires being they're not a metaphor for racism, it's a metaphor for like a kind of more insidious type of racism, where it's like we want to sort of like seep ourselves into your culture, take the things we like from it and monetize it in our own way.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't even really thinking about that. The most impactful moment of the movie to me, where I wasn't necessarily thinking of like the broader commentary implications of it, but like when they're standing at the door and Remick, he's turned like most of the people at the party at this point, and he's like, you guys can come with us and you don't have to exist in this culture where you're going to be oppressed and you're not going to have the same opportunities. Like you can just be the part of this like supernatural vampire hive mind with us and escape the racism of the day. And you could see they're all like, shit, should we just do that?
Like they were thinking about it.
Yeah, like that was really cool.
Good pitch.
Yeah,
it's a good pitch.
For me, the best scene. Oh, good.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was saying, for me, the best scene was probably like the very last scene, whenever they're all in the bar and they're talking to old man. What's his name?
Sammy.
And
he's like, that was the best day of my life before all of that shit happened. What about you? And he's like, same, honestly.
It was pretty sick. I love all the like Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld's 90s fits.
Yeah.
I am fucking pissed. I didn't stay for the post-credit scenes because I didn't know there was any. And that's a pretty big, important scene to watch. I watched it on goddamn Twitter after the fact, but I was so mad. I was like, damn, that's not just like a post-credit scene. That's like an epilogue. I wish that was, in the actual thing instead of past the credits.
I didn't watch it either, so tell me what happened.
There's two, right? I only saw the first one.
Yeah. The second one isn't as integral. It's a flashback to Sammy in the chapel, strumming. I think he's playing like the song that's like "Sweet Little Star of Mine, I'm gonna make it shine." That song.
Yeah.
On guitar, and he just kind of sings that. And I read that they were like that. Yeah, that was like the last time he was like genuinely happy and peaceful with his music before all the vampire shit happened.
So he was. Doesn't he meet the devil or something? I thought that was part of it. No,
I have no idea. I mean, it was Remick as the devil.
I'll watch them online.
But Nick. So you don't know about the '90s flashback or the '90s post-credit thing, right? Yeah,
I watched that
one. About that one.
Oh yeah, so basically it shoots forward in time to like the 90s.
92.
Yeah, Sammy's an old man. He's like he's in.
No, I watched that one.
Oh, yeah, you saw that.
That was what I was talking about. Was that a post-credit scene? I think that was part of the actual movie.
It was like a mid-credit scene. It was after.
That's the one where Michael B. Jordan shows up, right?
Yeah, I watched that one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's one of the.
Yeah, that was what I was talking about. That was like my favorite scene of the movie.
Yeah, it was really good.
Why do you guys think that he just let Sammy live and not become a vampire?
Because he promised his brother.
Yeah, he was like, Smoke made me promise I was not gonna like hurt, like not gonna bother you anymore. And now that the hive mind's dead, he's just kind of got him and his girlfriend's memories. That's all they got now.
Oh, so they're basically just normal people with vampire powers.
Yeah, and they can't see the sun. Yeah.
Oh. I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm like, oh, they're kind of not really the hive mind anymore. They're just like rogue vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like I enjoy whenever someone plays around with folklore kind of like creatures, and they, there's a lot of vampire media where they're like, listen, this ain't a goddamn movie. Garlic don't work. That's some bullshit. It's like, no. Everything works. Garlic hurts them. They can't enter a house unless you invite them in, which is like a very big plot point of the movie. Interestingly enough, none of the religious stuff actually works on the vampires. Like they don't use holy water. There's a point when he's like praying, when Sammy's praying right before Remic's about to kill him, and then Remic just starts like praying with him because he's like an Irish. He grew up around that too, and it doesn't do anything. I think that's interesting.
But in folklore, it's supposed to. If you say prayers, then the vampires are supposed to.
They do the whole. You hold up a holy cross, and they like go, and and like Salem's Lot and stuff.
I never understood. It's like, all right, so you can shoot these people, these vampires. You can fucking do anything you want, but somehow just a normal wooden stake to the heart. Like, why that?
I don't know.
Of all things,
or a silver bullet for a werewolf.
Oh, I thought they were using silver with the vampires too, though. I was thinking like, isn't that werewolf?
I think silver fucks. I think silver hurts them. They like can't. I don't think it's like a. I don't know. It's not the same thing. I don't think. Because I've seen in like True Blood, they like to use like silver chains for the vampires to keep them at bay and stuff.
So Ethan, is this the best vampire movie ever?
I don't know. I haven't seen enough vampire movies, but it's pretty damn good.
Well, it's not better than Twilight. So
that's a good point. Yeah, Twilight's a 10 out of 10. So we can all agree on that.
Me and Nick are Team Edward. We're not Team Smokestack.
I am Team Edward.
None of the characters because they're all horrible. But anyway,
Edward's sick, bro.
He's a fucking
clingy
creeping out
motherfucker.
16-year-old.
Wait, so were you Team Edward or Team Bella, Nick, or Team Jacob?
I've always been Team Edward, bro.
Yeah, I think you gotta be.
Jacob's a PDF file, so
Jacob sucks, dude.
Aren't they? They both are. They're both they're like 100 years old. After this
Edward's old as fuck.
That's a good point.
I was watching Twilight the other day, and then I think I didn't think about it at the time, but I was like, I want to get ready for Sinners by watching
vampire shit.
Twilight. Yeah, I don't know.
They just keep getting better too.
What, in the Twilight movies?
Twilight movies.
They're so good.
I don't know. I think New Moon is the funniest one.
Nick, you're probably a big vampire guy, aren't you?
Got a tattoo?
I wouldn't say I'm a big. I like vampire movies.
Is that like, what's your favorite like folklore creature in like media? Like werewolves, vampires, Frankenstein's monster.
Mine are Kelpies.
Ghosts, Kelpies.
I don't think I have one. I think if I had to pick one, I'd say zombies, just because I feel like traditionally zombie movies have always been like pretty fun. But I don't know. I like all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly like demons the most, which vampires are kind of like demons, I guess, especially the way they're portrayed in Sinners. They're psychic creatures basically that seem to have some kind of like hive mind presence among them, which is common in demonology too. So I don't know. Yeah. I also I like Kelpies. Do you guys know about Kelpies? You fuck with them?
They're like fucking water horses, right? That drown you or something.
Yeah, they that's like, I think it's like Irish or Scottish folklore.
It's like the sirens, sirens basically.
Well, it's sort of like the Loch Ness monster. Like that, people say that's a Kelpie. Okay. Like you're swimming in the lake, it's like a water horse that comes down and drags you down and eats you.
Yeah, that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, they're in like Harry Potter lore and everything too.
I also like little detail in like the makeup side of it, where it's like Remic starts off and he's like he just looks like a regular Irish lad, and then as it goes on, he like gets way more monstrous. Like his whole face is ripped open. You see like his lines of teeth. His nails get like they're like 4 inches long by the end, but like right before he dies. Also love the way he goes out in like a fucking fire tornado. That was just a beautiful visual.
Takes forever to die.
Yeah.
That was cool. I loved that despite all the trauma that Sammy's guitar brought to him that night, like he just wouldn't give it up with his dad.
He loves the blues.
He's like, I'm gonna hold on to this. I know it can cause me pain, but I'm gonna keep rambling. I'm gonna be a rambling blues man.
I think that was a powerful message. Also, I think that's a really strong opening scene too. It's like intriguing enough where it's like, I mean, that's where it starts as well.
Yeah.
Is him just gripping the bloody guitar stump.
See, I didn't like it because he didn't really feel like the main character to me. It felt like kind of just weird as far as the focus went of the film.
He was definitely the main character, I think.
Yeah.
Like Smoke and Stack are like Dumbledore to his Harry.
They're the supporting characters.
Smoke definitely got the way more focus than anybody else in the movie.
More than Stack? I felt like Smoke and Stack both got even shine.
I mean, Stack turns into a villain pretty quick.
Yeah, but in the beginning, they're both given sort of like the same importance in the film. That's what I was talking about before. It's like neither one of them, there was no distinctions between them, and also they were both equally the protagonist to me. Obviously, that changes once one of them becomes a vampire, but that happened. That's not like pretty early. That's like with half an hour left of the movie, basically, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's
it's
a little more than that, but yeah.
Like you said, Nick, you were like, oh, I didn't think about the theme. And like, so I think there's a lot of details on like rewatches or just thinking back on scenes.
Yeah.
Like right now I'm thinking, you know, the what is the opening shot we see of Smoke and Stack? It's Smoke sitting there and Stack hands him a folded cigarette to Smoke. And the final scene of Smoke before he's like getting ready to kill all the KKK members, he's like struggling to roll up a cigarette, and his like hands are shaking, and he's like trying not to cry. And in my mind, I was like, that's enough inference where I'm like, damn, Stack was rolling all the cigarettes, and now he doesn't have them there anymore. I don't know. I think that's a really cool detail, and they don't have to say anything. You just see that.
I think this is where I differ pretty heavily from y'all, because the themes and like what the director is trying to say and all that is like way secondary to me than a movie just being like visually interesting and exciting, and like me being able to find some kind of like emotional connection to it.
So you didn't think it was a visually interesting or entertaining?
Not really, man. I didn't like. I mean, it was decent. It was definitely competently made, decently shot, but I felt like I was watching a big budget like spectacle film.
Well, I mean, even despite the fact that I said I didn't really grasp the whole vampires as appropriation parallel or whatever, but beyond that, I think it's very emotionally affecting to watch one brother or is it their cousins, right? Randomly,
they're brothers.
Yeah,
I thought they were cousins.
He made a joke of, oh, are you talking Sammy or Smoke and Stack?
Smoke and Stack.
No, they were saying brothers. He was making a joke because he was like, "Are you guys cousins or something?" He's like, "Or no," he's like, "Are you twins?" He's like, "Nah, we're cousins." Just fucking with the guy.
Oh, okay. Well,
because they're clearly twins. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Watching his brother just turn into a vampire, and then his entire cabal of like hive mind vampires is like, "Look, dude, you can live a much better life with us." Like, just that in and of itself is pretty powerful and emotional. No.
But think about this, right? Here's a movie like Interstellar, right? I would say I objectively like Interstellar less than I like Sinners, right? But when I look back on, say, Interstellar, I see things like that scene where Matthew McConaughey is in the chair watching the video from his son, like bawling his eyes out.
Yeah.
And regardless of how much I don't really like that movie, that scene sticks with me as like a big emotional moment that I like think is amazing. Right? Regardless of the movie that it's in. And I don't think this movie had any moments that really are going to stick with me in any kind of similar way.
That moment that I just described sticks with me. Maybe not as much as the McConaughey thing, because that's just such an exceptional performance.
It's an amazing scene.
It's really it's a really moving performance. Whereas like the scene from Sinners that I was talking about, where they're standing by the threshold of the barn or whatever, that's like I don't know. I kind of like it stays with you more intellectually, I guess, than like emotionally. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I know what you're saying, Nick. I think I agree with that actually. That it doesn't really have that one scene that you're gonna be like, oh, connect that movie to that scene and be like, that was amazing to watch and it really moved me. You know?
Yeah, I just think they had a lot of room for it too within this story.
Yeah. So what are you guys feeling score wise on Sinners?
I'll probably go like a 7.5.
I think I'm like an 8 out of 10.
I'll give it like a 3 out of 10. No, I'm just kidding. Right now I'm sitting at a 9 out of 10, and it hasn't wavered. I don't know. I'm not saying it's like a masterpiece yet, but maybe on a rewatch it might go up, might go down. I'm feeling confident at a 9. I saw it like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Nick probably agrees with this. Like, I think we spent a lot of time criticizing it just because it's like that was sort of what I was thinking when I came out of it. It was like, I don't really understand why people are saying this is like the movie of the year or the movie of the decade even, but it was still a great movie that I really liked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if I went in with zero expectations and watched that movie, I would walk out very happy.
Yeah. So let's get into our weekly tradition of Nick hating The Last of Us.
Yeah, and we weren't able to talk about the last episode, so we're talking about episode 4 and 5. So day 1 and day 2 of Seattle, baby. So Nick, are you in a grumpy ass mood? What did you think?
I'm gonna be a dad.
Not a fan?
It's fucking terrible. The show is fucking dog shit, bro. It's so fucking bad.
Why? Where is it going wrong?
I don't like any of the characters. I literally don't like anybody. I think what's the guy who played
Isaac?
The black dude that played Isaac. Yeah, he's pretty good. Jeffrey Wright. I like that scene where he's torturing the guy.
He also played the same. He played in the game. He was
in the game he played the same character. But like I think he's doing an okay job.
Really
but he's also just like a side character. Like I don't like Dina. I don't like fucking
Ellie.
Like Ellie. I'm just like I'm checked out, bro. It's like it's punishment to watch this show right now for me.
Damn. I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but I definitely I understand where you're coming from. I turn on this show and I just can't help but compare it to last season, and for so many reasons, it's just not anywhere near as good as the first season, you know. And
but it's one of those where it's like it's going for so much like a much different it is nowhere. It's so hard to compare because they're such different stories, you know.
Like it comes down like this whole story is fully built upon Ellie being a fucking rage monster, like that wants to fucking murder somebody, and Bella Ramsey's not bringing it, dude. It might not be her fault, maybe it's the writer's fault, but I don't buy it. I don't buy that she wants her revenge. I don't buy
in the latest episode where she's kicking the shit out of Nora with the pipe. I feel like that's when it finally started. I was like, oh, now we're getting to she's getting her the little bit of Joel in her.
But like even whenever she's almost willing to call it quits because Dina's pregnant, like for a whole scene. And it's just like
no, I thought she was willing to say like, Dina, you go back. I'm not, or you stay here and I'll do this by myself.
She wasn't going to ditch. She wasn't going to just be like, let's go home. She was like, no, you can stay. I'm still going, but I don't want you to have to feel like you're obligated to help me now that I know that you're pregnant.
Yeah, she's like, this complicates the situation.
It does. Because in the game it was played way different. I don't know if I have a preference because I also haven't played the game in so long. But she's fucking mean to Dina. She's like, God damn it! Now you're just gonna fucking what's the word? Just like you're gonna ruin this for me. Yeah, you're
but that makes so much more sense for somebody hellbent on revenge. Like everything else, like the revenge feels secondary. Her like having this moment where she's so excited about Dina having a baby. That's not something that's on her mind when she watches like her father get beaten to death with a fucking golf club. Like it.
I don't know. It's hard
to much, dude.
I mean, I've never had a close family member murdered in front of me, but like, I feel like 3 months. If I'm on a hellbent revenge mission, I feel like 3 months. You're not going to be on a revenge like bloodlust, not able to smile or emote of anything for 3 months. I feel like you'd have the little moments where you can't keep up that hate forever. I'm not Kendrick Lamar.
Abby did it.
Kendrick Lamar.
Well, sure, Abby did it, but I mean, like when you play in the games in Abby segments and you go with the flashbacks where it's like before Joel dies and after her dad's died, there's moments where she's still having fun, she's still talking to people. You know, there's like a sadness to her, but same goes for Ellie. You know, she's she's fucked up, but she still likes Dina and wants a relationship. I don't know. It didn't bother me.
But do you feel like they have chemistry together? Like I don't feel it. I don't feel it between these two performers that there's like a believable romantic connection between them. It feels like
it works.
I don't know. I'm not really getting it. I'm not appreciating the fact that they really, really love each other. I mean, Dina was just with Jesse like couple weeks before that. She's barely pregnant, so she can only be tops like 6 weeks pregnant. Really, she's not visibly pregnant at all. Yet she's now like, no, Ellie, I actually love you, not the guy that got me pregnant 6 weeks ago.
They fall in love so fast.
Really? I didn't know that.
That's the cliche apparently. Is the lesbians say they'll love each other after a couple days.
And I'm sure. I mean, they've known each other for years and they've had a friendship. So maybe these things have been bubbling under the surface. I'm just saying, like, the show hasn't really given me. It's telling me that they're in love. It's not necessarily showing me that. And that's since, like, The Last of Us to me is about, whether it's Joel and Ellie or Joel and Dina, it's about two people going on a mission to do something in an apocalyptic, dangerous ass world. Whereas, like, that relationship between Joel and Ellie is so iconic and legendary and beautiful. And just comparing that to this, even if it's working for some people, like, I just don't know how it can possibly compare to what we had in the first season, which is, like, I know, comparison is the thief of joy and everything, but, like, it's not like I'm comparing one show to another. This is the second season of that show, and now it's just considerably less impactful,
I've been praying for them to switch to Abby. Like, I've been like, please give me a fucking Abby episode, for Christ's sake, dude.
I think
like,
Go
ahead.
I will say, no, the Abby story is, I think, a more engaging and interesting story. Like, genuinely, I remember her parts of the games. Like, everyone's fucking pissed because they have to play as her, but her part is a much more interesting story rather than, we gotta go over here and kill someone, and then I gotta go over here and kill someone, and then I gotta go over here and kill someone.
Well, we're clearly not getting any of that till next season.
Yeah, it's all gonna be next season.
There's only 7 fucking episodes, and the next one is just a flashback.
But it's gonna it's gonna be cozy and a relaxing little episode. We don't have to stress.
Yeah, I'm excited. This feels like a big. Back, but
this feels like a big ploy to make people appreciate the game more, because everybody hated the second game so much when it came out, and now everybody's like, no, go back to the game. The game's great.
HBO's like, look, guys, we're gonna spend 4 years, probably like $400 million, to get people to appreciate video games that came out 10 years ago.
Exactly.
The greatest prank in the world.
That's what it feels like, dude. I don't understand what they're doing with this show.
But at the same time, I mean, are you guys aware of the subreddit The Last of Us 2? Have you seen this?
Oh, it's fucking nightmare.
It's like, that's why I feel bad even, like, being online, saying, like, adding to the conversation. I genuinely don't like where the show is going, but I just feel so bad for Bella Ramsey.
It's like the same. It's like horrible, the same thing as Salt. It's like the same thing as Saltier Than Crate used to be on Reddit.
Yeah,
like where everybody was shitting on The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the memes with Bella Ramsey are fucked up. I'll just say that. We shouldn't be
just straight up bullying.
We shouldn't be just like fucking picking her apart and making her feel like shit about the way she looks. That's horrible.
I mean,
I don't think she's doing a very good job as the character.
I think
that's fine to say.
Yeah,
I think there's nothing wrong with not being a fan of their interpretation of Ellie or the way they're playing Ellie. You can even be like, I don't like that they don't look like Ellie from the game. That's even fine, whatever. But when you're just like, I think they're fucking ugly and I hate looking at their fucking face, and like, I'm like, all right, you're just bullying someone now. Like, that's half of the shit. You can't go on to any kind of social media and look at a post about The Last of Us season 2 because it's just that.
That's just this day and age, though. Like, people have like infinite access to AI. They have like all these things that make it so easy to make fun of people. It's the same thing is happening with what's her name from
Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, Rachel Zegler. It's just that's what it's going to be now, and these actors need to develop some thick skin at this point.
I mean, I don't think it's bothering them, but I'm still.
It 100% has to be bothering them.
Fucking.
If somebody was making all this shit about me, I would be fucking devastated, bro.
Yeah, it's horrible, dude. I mean, hold on, I'm gonna show you guys what the top all-time post of The Last of Us is. It's all
in The Last of Us 2 Reddit.
Yeah, it's literally just all these photoshops of Ellie. Hold on, it's not.
Is it like their faces are really tiny and stuff?
Just watch. Just check this out. We'll take a little scroll down memory lane. This is number 1.
Oh,
they're all just photo. It's all just because I don't know.
That one's normal.
No, it's comparing. That one's saying Caitlin Dever would have been.
Oh, she looks more like Ellie.
That's funny.
This is pretty funny because that is disgusting that they're just killing zombies and just like. But this, I mean, it's just mean, Like I don't know why do we gotta be?
Yeah, it's just a bully subreddit. It's all a bunch of fucking like.
Well, here's the
basement
thing.
dwellers.
Like, if people don't like something, they're gonna pick the easy target. It's so much easier to say this person's ugly than it is to make a logical explanation as to why something is bad.
It's also just harping on the appearance. Like, why is it so necessary for the character that they choose to depict a certain video game character to look exactly like them? Like, that's not necessarily the most important thing, right?
I think the amount of people that would be picking on her for the way she looks would be very, very minimal. Like, not in any way as widespread as it is if her performance of the character was amazing and the writing for the character was perfect.
I think the performance is fine. I don't really have an issue with the performance. I know you do, but I don't know.
I think a lot of people do, though. And I think just saying she's ugly is a way easier argument to make than making a list of everything they don't like about the show.
Yeah,
but then there's no argument if all you're doing is just bullying someone.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just
just
explaining what's probably happening.
But like for me, it's like it's interesting because Ellie like has looked different in every game. Basically, like original Ellie looked exactly like Elliot Page pre-transition, and then Elliot Page was like, "Hey, what the fuck? Why is this character look like me? I'm not in this game." And then they adjusted Ellie to look a little different, and then they did the sequel where they made Ellie look more like Ashley Johnson, and then they made part 1, and then they go back and make Ellie like Ellie's faces look so fucking different in every single game, basically. Which
For me,
is why
it's
I just
not really
think it's funny.
The looks that bother me. It's just her take on the character. Like, I feel like, I don't know.
Yeah,
she's not sassy enough. She's not snarky enough.
I feel like they've written Ellie to be to feel younger than game Ellie. That's what it still feels like,
especially in the second story.
Yeah, this second story Ellie in the games feels like a college kid who's like fucking exhausted. And then I feel like Ellie in the show only feels like a few years older than Ellie season 1, maybe a couple years. You know, like it feels very similar. In temperament to me.
It's just like you're supposed to be buying the fact that these two can go on this mission alone and be capable enough to kill every zombie, to kill Abby's entire crew. I don't know if they're exposing enough of that. Like I appreciated that they're depicting Dina as somebody that's like a little bit more logistical. So, you know, Ellie is kind of taking the Joel role of being good with guns and being good with violence and everything, and you know, Dina is somebody that's a little bit more tactical. Like that's good. I think they need to expand upon that to make them feel like they're actually like a force to be reckoned with. You know, I get that's part of it. You know, they're out for revenge, no holds barred, despite what they might be lacking in terms of like tactical shortcomings or whatever. They're just not thinking about that. They just want to go fucking kill the people that killed Joel. But in terms of like watchability and believability for the show, I just want them to feel like they're actually, you know, like a force to be reckoned with. You know what I mean? And I don't know if I'm getting that right now.
Yeah, they keep putting her into these like weird hand-to-hand combat things, and they didn't even do that in the game. They're just like, here's a bow, learn to be stealthy. It's like made so much more sense in the game than the way they're depicting it in the show. With her like fucking choking people out and shit.
What about the scars? Like, are they going to play a big role? Because I was really intrigued by that.
They are.
Like,
they're a very big role in Abby's story.
Oh, okay. So we're not going to see them till next season. Great.
I think we're done with the scars for the season. Yeah.
Because that's like the only thing here that I'm like, oh, these guys are pretty fucked up. I want to see what's going on with them and their whole war with the wolves. Yeah.
Did y'all like Josh Peck's fucking minimal ass performance?
Yeah. That was great.
Someone made a meme of that where they were just like, Isaac throws the grenades in and shuts the door, and he goes, "Drake, where's the door?" Fucking blows up.
Because like, do you guys think it's fair to say that in the game, Ellie is like more of a combatant, like a seasoned combatant than Bella Ramsey's sort of implying 100%. Right now?
I guess,
and
like
she also her whole tactics are different too. It doesn't act like she's just some hard ass. It shows that like she is very tactical with how she does things a lot of the time.
Ellie in the game, but it's also because you're playing a game, so you kind of have to be. They have to like design the character in a way to operate very different from Joel, like in the way he plays, where it's like Joel's very brute force, like will beat a guy in the head, choke someone out, snap their neck. And then Ellie is like super sneaky, super slinky. She'll pull out her pocket knife and just slice someone's throat out, and then just like duck under a bunch of cars and like crawl around. Like very, very, very different. And there's not a lot of that from the show Ellie at this point.
Yeah, I will say I really do like her name's like Isabella Merced, Dina, the Dina actress. I think she's really good. I'm definitely appreciating her performance. I think it's just for me, it's the chemistry angle between her and Bella Ramsey that I'm not necessarily feeling that much of. If this is supposed to be a lifelong romantic bond that they're forming here, and they're gonna have a kid together in the apocalypse, like it's just not. I don't know. I'm not really feeling the love.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
I agree, and I also think it makes it harder for me knowing the
where
ending.
It goes.
Because, like, if I was watching this without having any idea of what's going to happen, I'd be like, I just hope fucking Bella gets killed. Like, or not Bella, not Bella. Ellie gets killed. Like, I just want her to fail the fucking mission, and then
the true hater reveals himself.
I don't hate Bella Ramsey. I hate Ellie in this show, though.
Like, I hope Alec Baldwin shows up.
Oh God,
she needs to get rusted. That's ASAP.
Is that what you're saying, Nick?
No,
that's pretty fucked up, Nick. That's pretty.
I'm just saying,
dude.
Knowing where the story goes, it needs to be really good to keep me interested, because I'm not waiting for anything. I'm watching for an adaptation of something that I already know, and it's not in any way better.
You're watching as a comparison, basically.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me to just stay into it.
I think the show would be better if they were vape lords.
Agreed.
If they found like an abandoned vape shop and they're like, "Oh my God, we can just vape the shit out of each other right now," I would love that.
They should just turn it into a stoner comedy.
I will say, I think the show fucking still looks incredible. Like when they drop down to the hospital basement and they're in that room, which is like, apparently it's practical. All the spores are obviously CG, but like the walls and shit, they built that.
Yeah.
And all the bodies like breathing, all the bodies like attached to the wall, breathing out the fucking spores.
That looks so
I think
sick.
it looked great.
I was thinking like down there, I know Ellie's immune, but isn't there a fucking line? I mean, she's just inhaling just so many particles of cordyceps, and she's just like, I'm good. Like
her body just kills that shit.
Yeah, she's good. She's like when Soldier Boy gets like a nitrous oxide grenade chucked at him, and he's like, "Oh yeah,
yeah."
She's fine.
I mean, I thought the whole confrontation with Nora was good and exciting. Yeah. I was like, if they give me more of this, I'm gonna be a little bit more pumped. But yeah, I don't know. I think my main. I think we had this conversation before season 2 before Ethan was actually on the show, and I said I don't know if Bella Ramsey can really carry this, and I don't know. I'm not really feeling like they can at this point. So I don't know. My fears are sort of realized after what I was thinking after season 1. So
I think the benefit at this point is because it is a dual narrative story. At least that's what season 3 is going to be, entirely Abby. At least it's not. I know most of season 2 is on Bella Ramsey, but luckily the weight isn't fully on her for the fully on them for the the entirety of the series. It's just season 2 basically.
Okay, I'm gonna say it. I think it's not fair that they make it a requirement for fucking men to juice up for these Marvel movies and shit, but they didn't juice her up for her role, dude.
Caitlin Dever?
What is this? Just give her some Anavar. Make her work out.
Wait, Ellie or Abby?
Abby.
I agree. I said that too. I feel like just from what I never played the game, but just watching it, it was clear that that's a huge part of her character. She's an intimidating physical force. Yeah.
It's not even about the physical force. It's about showing how fucking committed she was to absolutely destroying Joel.
But so wait, the game initially she's not yoked, and then she becomes yoked to kill Joel.
Yes.
She was not yoked before her dad died, and then when she meets up with Joel again, she's fucking shredded. And then basically after near the ending of the game, she's lost all of that muscle mass because she's been tortured and stuff. But she's lost all of it because she's also let go of her anger and hatred.
Wait, so when Ellie spoilers for the end of the whole thing.
Of the show.
I remember watching this. It's like a fight on the beach, and Abby's trying to save some guy, something like that.
Yeah,
and they fight. But yeah, I was always wondering that because while you see Abby throughout the main story, it's like, how is Ellie ever gonna kill this girl? She's like a brick shit house,
Yeah, and that's why, because it's the fight in the end of the entire game is just fucking miserable for both parties. It's like Ellie is broken, and I think she'd been stabbed at this point, or impaled at this point, and then Abby's been starved for like a month and has been just probably beaten and tortured, and
by the
has
scars?
no muscles anymore. No, they're in LA at this point.
Damn, they go all over the place, huh?
Yeah, they go all over the place. But that might be season 4 if they do that. But yeah, it's a miserable fight.
I mean, the whole ending part where Ellie's lost fingers and she's trying to play the guitar, like that is a beautiful image. It really is powerful. It's like the physical ramifications of her going on this quest for revenge, that she's lost the one connection that she had to Joel left, and she can't even play that fucking song anymore. Like, that's a great... I mean, I understand why Druckmann doesn't want to make another game, because I think that's... Despite the fact that people didn't like the journey to get there, like, the end spot is pretty powerful, I think, you know?
Yeah.
He should just make another Last of Us. I mean, not Last of Us, another Uncharted, because...
I mean, Neil Druckmann doesn't make Uncharted.
Oh, well, it's made by Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
What other stuff has Neil Druckmann done?
They're making I don't know if it's Neil Druckmann, but they're doing a sci-fi game with the actress that plays Nora. She's the lead character of Intergalactic. They're making like a retro sci-fi third-person action game.
Oh. On The Last of Us 2, they call him Neil Cuckman.
Yes, he is. Neil Druckmann does do Uncharted. What are you talking about?
No, I don't. He's not the game runner though. That he is.
He's the director.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. He's one of the writers. Yes, he is. I guarantee you, he is.
It's a woman. Amy Hennig. Amy Hennig is the Uncharted person.
No. Maybe for the first game.
Oh, maybe that. I don't know. I've never played Uncharted.
You haven't played Uncharted?
I played part of the first one.
They are the best games. The first one, you should skip the first one. Play 2 through 4. They're amazing.
Amy Hennig, who formerly worked at Naughty Dog, is credited as the creator of the first 3 Uncharted games.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
Druckmann
only did
created
the fourth
Last
one,
of Us and Last of Us 2. I think he helped do the 4th one.
Uncharted 4 was a fucking masterpiece. Holy shit. Yeah.
But now they're doing Intergalactic, which is like some sci-fi shit.
Druckmann was heavily involved, but Hennig is the creator. Neil Druckmann is like the head honcho of The Last of Us, she's the head honcho at Uncharted.
Got it.
Okay.
So, like I was saying, they on The Last of Us 2, they call him Neil Cuckman, which is I know. I don't know why. I guess they really just hate the direction of the second game. Their whole thing is like game 2 isn't canon, basically, is what they say.
I mean, I honestly I was annoyed by the second game. I was one of them. I didn't hate it that much because it didn't really take away the first game for me.
Yeah.
But I'm like appreciate that. That's like where like I'm like I appreciate the second game so much more after watching this version of it.
And it all stems from Joel, right? Joel being gone. That's what it's.
Yeah,
that's where it started.
The main thing. That's how the game starts. So it's like it's an immediate like you gotta fucking like. If that pisses you off enough to where you just stop playing, then you're not gonna invest in the game.
I think, I was making this comparison a couple weeks ago, but I think it would be interesting for us to compare why it was successful when Game of Thrones did the same thing and why it's been unsuccessful in making everyone pissed off when The Last of Us did it. You know what I mean?
That wasn't just like that's like an ensemble cast like show. Like,
yeah, there's a lot of storylines happening in season 1 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's still so many good characters to still root for. You have Tyrion, you have fucking Jon Snow, you have...
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There was safety net set up, basically.
Right. It's like when they set up Ned as the protagonist, but once he dies, it's like it becomes clear. It's like, oh shit, he never actually was. He's like the inciting. Yeah. His death is the inciting incident that starts the war.
Yeah, and it also sets up so much more exciting things. Like Joel dying doesn't really set up anything all that interesting.
Yeah. And also, it's like if Ellie's immunity is what makes her the most like special and important character in the game. It's also once that doctor dies, who's the only person that could actually do something with it, her immunity also becomes kind of like it doesn't even matter. It doesn't make her special anymore. It just means that she can get bit by a zombie. She can't actually have an impact on the world anymore, which is that's a huge oversight too, I feel like, because that was what was interesting. That was an interesting push and pull in the first game. It's like, once you don't know if they're going to be able to find a cure. Now the cure isn't even, that's like a total non-factor now, which I think sucks. I feel like any ongoing zombie story, you need to have some kind of mechanism, hope for there to be a cure to fix this all. But in this game, it's like, no, we're just bleak as fuck. Ellie can get bit, and that's the only reason her immunity means anything anymore. You guys know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think this feel like there's a driving force.
I feel like this story is a lot harder to pull off because there isn't really an emotional heart to it at all. It all just comes down to having good performances and good writing and overcoming based on that.
Yeah. I mean, now, we're about 2 seasons into The Last of Us. Were you guys fans of The Walking Dead?
I was, to a point.
I watched the first 3 seasons. I stopped watching basically when they leave the prison. I think I maybe saw some of the stuff with the governor character in season 4, but I never watched whatever. It's season 36 now, probably, right? I don't even know.
I think it's good till around. I think it's season. I think it's watchable up till around season 7 or so, and then it's kind of downhill.
I watched. I think the only genuinely great season I loved was season 1, and then I watched all the way up to season 6. Where that big character death thing happened, and then me and my sister.
That was 7, I think.
That was premiere of 7 was a huge character death, a couple of them.
Glenn,
and I just went okay, well, it was the Glenn one. Spoilers.
Well, I stuck around past that.
I watched a couple episodes and I was like, I don't have any interest in watching this.
Spoilers for Walking Dead. Skip a second. So in the Walking Dead game, or in the Walking Dead
comic.
Carl basically becomes the main character eventually. He's the main character. And then the way they killed off Carl was just very disrespectful. And when I look back on that show, I remember not liking Carl all that much, but I'm rewatching the show right now, and the Carl actor is actually really good. He's a super solid actor. I have no idea why they cut him out like that.
Well, I think it's harder in a TV show to switch protagonists than it is in a comic, because people grow really attached to these characters. There's actors involved, there's egos involved. There's so many more moving parts to changing it that way other than when it's just written on a page. You know what I mean?
But they already do it though. They turned Michonne and Rick's daughter into the main characters. But they get rid of Rick entirely.
That's deep into the show, though. That's when this show had already jumped the shark by that point. When Rick is gone, it's it's over, basically, right?
But that's what I'm saying. They basically took away their only safety net, which was Carl.
How does Negan kill Carl?
No, I think I don't remember. They just gets bit or something. They killed him in a really dumb way.
Was he wearing a cowboy hat while it happened?
Probably.
I wish.
Interesting.
This ain't a farming hat.
No, but I brought that's really random that you're rewatching it right now. But I was just curious, how do you think The Last of Us? I mean, the production value is off the charts for The Last of Us. So we're going to be comparing it to The Walking Dead. Walking Dead was it was a cable show. It had probably 10% of the budget of this one. Maybe 20 or whatever.
I honestly think the performances in The Walking Dead, up till season 6 or 7, are better. I think the acting is actually pretty good in The Walking Dead up until they just give up and start doing weird shit.
Well, yeah, Andrew Lincoln was. I can only really speak on the first 3 seasons, which I thought were pretty good. I really love John Bernthal and the dynamic between him and Andrew Lincoln, and his wife and everything. And I don't know. I just now I'm trying to compare, because these are the 2 main zombie shows of our day and age. Which one do you think is better ultimately?
Last of Us.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say because we know where Walking Dead ended.
Well, just compare the first 2 of Walking Dead to the first 2 of Last of Us.
If I was talking up to season 6 of The Walking Dead, I would much rather watch it.
We're just first 2 seasons of Walking Dead versus
first 2 seasons. Yeah. Then Walking Dead hands down.
What about
if we're talking just the
season 2 is fucking terrible of Walking Dead.
It's not.
Wait, no, that's one of the good seasons, isn't it?
I think season 2 is terrible.
It's when Shane becomes a villain, right?
It's where they waste fucking 10 episodes just dicking around on a farm for no reason.
It's great.
It's terrible.
I just watched it. It's good.
Season 1's great. Season 2's terrible.
Herschel's a great character. Maggie's a great character. No, it's good.
Season 2 sucks. Anyway, Last of Us.
Daryl's great.
All right, so Nick, we're gonna discount season 2 now. No, we're just doing Last of Us season 1 versus Walking Dead season 1. Who takes the cake
Last of Us.
Last of Us.
Okay.
Season 1 is very impressive for The Walking Dead, especially for like a kickstarted kind of not kickstarted.
I think
The
Walking Dead
awesome.
could have very easily been like a prestige television show.
It
I think
sort
it could
of
have
was
been like
initially.
Yeah, I think it could have been like
yeah.
one of the greatest shows ever made had they kept Frank Darabont as a first showrunner or brought in a showrunner that's comparable.
Yeah, they should have kept Frank on.
It was because The Walking Dead was sort of riding the wave of AMC becoming a real force in prestige TV, like cable programming, because they had Mad Men, they had Walking Dead, they had Breaking Bad. It was like that was at the time when all the best shows on TV were on AMC. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
In the wake of like The Sopranos just ending on HBO.
But AMC is just so fucking cheap, bro.
Yeah. And now it's like I feel like no one our age really even has cable, so it's hard to watch AMC shows unless they come out on streaming,
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Better Call Saul was kind of their last hurrah.
I think it's interesting to just think about the development of the zombie genre over the age, like because we talked about the what are those movies called? 28 Days Later. We did those movies compared to The Walking Dead and now Last of Us. Like, how do you guys feel about because you guys are big zombie heads. Like, how do you guys feel about the progression of the zombie genre in the past 25 years? Like, how do you feel about that?
I think the Last of Us game kind of came out near the death of the renaissance of zombies. Like 28 Days Later kind of kicked it off, and then it was like kind of a slow going, and then Walking Dead, it fucking exploded. Then we had we had a new zombie game coming out twice a year, all this other stuff, and then The Last of Us came out, and I feel like that was near the end when everything was kind of done. Walking Dead was kind of meandering, and people were stopped. Like not as many people were watching. And the reason Last of Us worked so well is not only it's a great story, is that it actually had like an interesting spin on zombies. It wasn't just zombies. It was like, no, it's fucking mushroom zombies, which was cool enough, and it feels almost real world and grounded in a way.
Yeah.
I don't think zombies are going anywhere. I still think zombies are hit or miss. Like whenever they're big, there's a bunch of shitters, and then there's always a couple good ones. I mean,
okay, wait.
Romero zombie movies are always good. But then there's during the early 2000s, they made like 8,000 of the Dead movies, and most of them were trash.
Yeah, true.
So, all right, what about this? What was the best year for zombie media ever?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Or the best, the best couple years.
Decade.
The best decade, I could say maybe.
Yeah, the best decade.
I'd say probably like the 80s.
I would assume maybe it could be the 2010s. That 2010s should be in contention, no?
Maybe.
Because of The Walking Dead and The Last of Us games and all the games that Ethan was talking about. Like, I think that was the biggest zombie boom cycle.
But also you have to keep in mind Day of the Dead. Yeah, I guess you're right, because Day of the Dead came out. Dawn of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead as well.
Dawn of the Dead, Shaun of the Dead. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Probably
I
2010s.
think that's right. I think
or no, or
2000s
to 2010.
Yeah, it was really the renaissance of zombie media. Like 28 Days Later kicked that off, and then we just kind of had a huge boom.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
Shaun of the Dead is goated as fuck.
There's interviews with Frank Darabont when he was working on season 1, and he's like, I remember growing up, and zombies were, they got big when I was a kid, but as soon as I got older, everyone was like, zombies are corny, zombies are silly, and now everyone loves zombies again for some reason, and that was in 2006 or whatever.
No, it was a huge pastime with me and my friends to make little zombie movies where we would all dress up as zombies and chase each other through the woods. Put the 28 Days Later music over it. Dun, 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 dun.
I want to make us watch a day. I know y'all don't want to watch 3 movies.
Night of the Living Dead. So we should watch the original.
Not Night of the Living Dead. Day of the Dead is the best. The 80s Romero movie. Of the 3, it's so goddamn good. So I know y'all don't want to watch 3. So eventually I'm going to make us watch Day of the Dead.
We could have a zombie month where we do zombies.
We could do that the same when 28 Years Later comes out in That comes out in like a couple weeks, so never mind.
Well, we all have to dress up like zombies on cam.
Sure, I'll do that.
So what are you recommending this week, Ethan?
Oh, fuck. I have one lined up. I wasn't like confident on it, but I'm just gonna go for it. I am recommending a Guillermo del Toro joint from 2001.
The Orphanage?
It'll open. Called The Devil's Backbone.
Nice.
Oh, I've seen The Devil's Backbone. Good movie.
Oh, okay. Cool. Never mind. We're not watching that because Nick's seen it.
No, we've done that before.
Yeah.
I saw The Empty Man before you recommended it.
Okay. So you haven't seen Devil's Backbone?
No.
Next time I'll just pretend I haven't seen it for the sake of the podcast.
I think it's a Spanish, like a foreign language film. So it's a Spanish film, like set in the 1930s. And
so there's going to be a tariff on it?
Oh, yeah. We should get into that.
Oh, we didn't talk about that.
Oh, yeah. Oops. Should I just start us off with the quote?
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Read his social media post. Yeah, do his voice.
I feel like if you don't do the voice, you realize how fucking crazy half the shit he says is. The movie industry in America is dying a very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States. Hollywood and many other areas within the USA are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and, therefore, a national security threat. It is, in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. Therefore, I am authorizing the Department of Commerce and the United States representatives to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want movies made in America again.
Great job.
Thank you.
I think a lot of what he said there is utter bullshit.
Stupid.
But I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing, personally.
How?
Listen,
how?
I think, honestly, when I'm reading this, when I first read it, I went, okay, yeah, sure, understanding other ones going outside. And then he goes like, all these other countries are offering incentives. And I go, oh, now this is the point where he goes, so we're offering a better incentive to come here and film. No. I'm threatening anyone that doesn't film here.
I agree. I think they should more so focus on incentivizing filming in the United States rather than like putting tariffs or something.
People. He doesn't give benefits to people.
I do think that outsourcing all of our filming to like Canada and stuff for tax cuts and stuff is kind of whack.
But here's the thing. How the fuck do you track that? Movies aren't a product that you can tariff. There are so many levels and different industries. Like, for example, if someone's working on VFX and films in America but ships it off to go VFX in Vancouver and then ships it back, how do you tariff that? How do you tariff the work on that?
I guess the labor gets tariffed. I don't know.
But
it's going to be like, because there's no way they're going to stop you from filming portions of films out of the country. I think there are going to be different it's going to depend on how they're actually doing it as to whether this is fucked or not.
If Trump really wanted to incentivize, if he wanted to incentivize people to make movies here, we should have like more grants and stuff that other countries do. Like when you watch a film in Australia or that's made in Canada or European countries, oftentimes it will say like funded by the federal fund for arts endowments or whatever like that.
Furiosa was funded by the Australian government.
Yeah, it's like that's the way to do this.
I think the idea is sound. I think the path he's taking to do it is pretty stupid.
Because all he does is he wants to penalize people. He wants to make trade in our country and global trade a zero-sum game where we're trying to fucking beat everyone into submission. And if we have a trade deficit with someone, it means that they're like beating us somehow. He's just his entire fucking understanding of economics and trade is it's literally just a vindictive old man who doesn't understand how the world works, and he just wants to punish people.
I think who this is going to affect, I think film industry for the most part is going to find a way to work around this without actually taking too much of a hit, because that's literally what they do.
I mean, he's already apparently been cutting deals. Like Amazon has cut up a deal. They're like, oh, we're exempt from that, I think.
But what this is going to impact the most, if I had to guess, would be like the animation industry. I think the animation industry, which is like largely outsourced, is going to be heavily affected by this.
So is the tariff going to become an issue for when they want to distribute it in the U.S.? If a movie is made like Flow, for instance, that became kind of a hit in the U.S. and won an Oscar here, is that movie going to the distributors from the other country are going to have to pay 100% more to get their film distributed in the U.S.? Or is it the fact that
I have no idea.
Yes,
like
I believe so.
What the fuck is the point of that? Just like I don't understand. Like it's so fucking.
I mean, they just won't.
It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean,
it's just making
the U.S. is the biggest market, but I mean, something like Flow was made in the U.S. I'm pretty sure that whole animation team was U.S. based.
No, the guy is not from America. No,
they were like from like the Netherlands or someplace in Europe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to look into it more, but I mean, I agree with y'all. I think they should do more incentivization for like making films in the United States. I think that is a good thing. But I just think the way he's going about it is fucking stupid.
Well, it's not like we don't film anything in the U.S. anymore. I mean, like look at Georgia. Like Atlanta's like become such a hub for the film industry, for people to film in a cheaper spot than Hollywood studio lots and stuff.
Or how many?
But there needs to be more of that.
How many movies, like half of the movie is shot in America, the other half is shot in other parts? How do you track like what you're tariffing? Like Superman, half of it was shot in like Cleveland, and then parts of it I think were shot in Britain and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, how are we tracking that? Because there's a whole crew team, there's a whole different crew with like shooting in the UK and different studio lots. It's just a fucking mess, and I don't know if it's going to go through. It's definitely not going to go through in the form that he is describing in this truth post.
Well, all of this stuff that he's doing he's been doing it through executive power only. He doesn't need Congress's approval. He can make it in a fucking executive order. He's totally willing to use the bully pulpit more than any other president that we've had in our lifetime, for sure, and anyone that I can think of in like modern American history. The thing that's fucked up about it is that, like, he identifies a problem that is real. Like, yeah, people are going outside of the country, that American filmmakers are going outside of the country. So instead of making it easier for them and incentivizing them to stay here, he just wants to make it harder for them to go anywhere else. It doesn't actually solve a problem. It just penalizes people.
Logic.
It's fucking ridiculous,
It's bullying. That's his main method, is just threatening people. If you don't do this, then you're gonna have to pay a big tariff.
He comes off as somebody that doesn't really think things through all the way.
I feel like he probably came up with this before. He was like, wait, they're not filming. Wait, I thought that movie was made here. That was made in Africa? Ugh. Why don't we make movies here anymore? And then just probably fucking had his assistant make a tweet for him.
It's like throwing a Band-Aid at something that if he took like 5 minutes to really think about it, he could find a real solution for it.
By the way, have you guys seen the Trump movie? Like the one with Jeremy Strong and
no, I heard
Sebastian Stan. It's great. It's really, really good.
It was good.
Yeah. You watched it, Nick?
Yeah, I finally watched it like a couple weeks ago.
And Trump himself was doing a lot to try to keep that movie out of. That's why that movie got distributed by some like really like not big, very small distributors, because Trump was very bullish on trying to not get it proliferated through America. But it's definitely worth watching. And
yeah, I'll check it out.
The most interesting thing about it is like Ivana Trump, his wife from the 80s and 90s, that she's the mother of Ivanka, Don Jr. and Eric. She said in a deposition against Donald that he raped her. And in the movie, they portray that scene. She eventually took it back, and she was like, I didn't mean it literally. But it's like, why would you say that in a deposition where you can get in trouble for lying that your husband sexually assaulted you, So I don't know. That's always been a weird thing, but the movie shows it very graphically, and it's I'm sure that's part of the reason why Trump didn't want it seen as much, but it definitely portrays in a very questionable, morally questionable light, But
yeah.
All right. Well,
I don't know.
Sorry to just ramble.
What a fun note to send it.
Sorry to ramble on that, but I just think that's interesting.
It's all right. Yeah, that is.
All right, say your pick again, just so I can timestamp this shit.
Everyone knows. We are watching Guillermo del Toro's 2001 Spanish language film, The Devil's Backbone, or the Spanish title for it. What the fuck is it called?
Say it. El Diablo's.
It's something like that.
Cornhole?
El Espinazo del Diablo.
El Diablo's Cornhole? Is that what you said?
El Espinazo del Diablo.
The good movie, the 1999 movie El Diablo's Cornhole. like Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, we were watching The Devil's Backbone from 2001. And if you don't want to be spoiled for that, make sure to watch it before next episode. If you are watching on YouTube and you enjoyed this, please leave us a like, leave us a comment. Same goes for our audio-only platforms such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Make a third, fourth account, sub to us.
Yes, get us some bots to go on. We don't really need a real audience. We just need numbers. That's all we care about, actually. We don't really want a genuine connection with our fans. We just want monetization.
Make sure you get this.
Care about.
Everybody just tweet this video out to Chris Stuckman, too. Be sure to clip us.
Make
out
sure
of context, clip us. Make sure I sound
context.
like an absolute psychopath.
Yes, everyone needs to get Stuckmanized immediately with Chris Stuckman, and he needs to get Stuckmanized on this fucking podcast as soon as possible.
Stuckmanized.
Get Stuckmanized.
Get Stuckmanized.
Get Stuckmanized. Bye.